There may be times when you want background guidelines to help you with your composition or make it easier to draw something in 3D. We're going to take a look at how 2D isometric and perspective guidelines work and how they differ. You can activate the guidelines by going to the Action menu, selecting Canvas, turning on the Drawing Guide toggle and Edit Drawing Guide. We're looking at 3 different options: the 2D grid, the isometric, and the perspective. And to activate the perspective, you have to tap on the canvas and you will get it to vanishing point perspective. We're going to delete one of them. Before we do that, we are going to set up the horizontal line. Now we can move that one around. Let's go back to 2D with all of them. You can set the opacity by sliding the slider, the thickness, and the grid size. You can even numerically put in the grid size. You can also change the color of the grid if you wish to. Now, one last thing, we're going to look at what that does. Now, I have created a sample layer that has Assisted turned on. If you tap on that, rephrase, you will see that Drawing Assist is turned on. Now, when I draw with that, I can only draw vertically and horizontally. If I turn on Drawing Assist, I can draw freehand. Now, let's turn off that layer, and you can see that I have drawn a chart using the Assisted turned on. And then I draw a second layer below it with some freehand lettering and color, and I even used the grid line to plot out the percentage for the chart: 40, 37, and 31. Now, let's take a look at isometric. Turn that layer on, but then I have to go back into the drawing guide and turn on isometric. Now, the first thing we want to look at is I have isometric Assisted turned on, and if I draw on the layer, you can see that I'm only able to draw along the diagonal lines and the vertical lines. It's actually great for drawing 3D cubes and technical drawings, of course. And for a little bit of interest and depth, I created freehand shading for the objects. Now, let's take a look at perspective. Again, go back into the drawing guides. And now I have the perspective drawing turned on. I can actually adjust the drawing guides. And this is where I had them turned on when I drew this. Turn that back on, go to the Assisted perspective layer, and you can see that if I draw, I am only drawing along the perspective lines, except for my vertical lines and horizontal. Now you can imagine that these could be trucks on the road. Now again, to visualize and add more interest, I created a freehand color layer below the perspective. This is really great for cityscape and architecture and things like that. Your drawing or painting style will determine how often you use the guides, but it's good to know that they're there for you when you need them.